There's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since being the nominee. Do you have any update on that?
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
Well, on August 8th, earlier this month, Kamala Harris said that she would, in fact, do a sit-down, in-depth interview, and she would do so by the end of this month, by the end of August. And guess what? She actually made good on that promise because her first sit-down interview has been announced. In fact, it was announced about 40 minutes before we went live today. So Kamala Harris will do a joint interview with her running mate, Tim Walz, on CNN this week on Thursday. It'll take place at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And Dana Bash will be the anchor who will conduct that interview. And guess what? It'll also mark the first time that Kamala Harris will do a sit-down interview since Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race on July 21st. Now, Kamala probably tried to stall in doing an in-depth interview for a number of reasons that I want to get to in just a moment. But before I do,
hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Cenk, I'm really curious what you think about the decision to have Kamala Harris do a joint interview rather than a solo interview.
Yeah, I'm worried about it. So I'm worried about the whole thing. So up until now, they've been running a brilliant campaign. You definitely don't hear me saying that often about Democratic campaigns. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever said it. Outside of Ojeda and that almost won in West Virginia and a couple other quirky campaigns that were amazing. Why did you guys let this drag out so long? It makes it seem like she's scared to do an interview. All that will do is create more anxiety for her and more pressure and more people looking at it. Whereas if it didn't bubble up to be an issue and you just did an interview right away, nobody would have even thought about it, right? You do a simple one, you do a 5-minute one, a 10-minute one. There's 1,000 ways they could have done this. But now I'm worried that she's nervous.
Well,
and that's why you wind up doing it with, and look, again, fairest show in America, when Trump and JD Vance were doing it together, I said Trump is leaning on JD Vance, especially because the Biden switch had just happened and Trump is still using old talking points and he's leaning on JD for the new ones because his brain already problematic is struggling, right? So you don't want to give off the same vibe and energy, so you don't need Tim Walz to back you up. There's alternate theory here that I don't believe is, you do the one together so that then Tim Walz doing interviews by himself makes sense.
Please.
It makes sense right now. That doesn't make any. Yeah, that's nonsensical. I don't believe it. So they shouldn't have waited this long. This particular interview is like the person it's with, CNN, Dana Bash, totally fine. I don't care. It could have been any of them. By the way, if you guys don't know this, all the anchors and the networks behind the scenes promise to be as soft as they possibly can. Then they pretend that they didn't promise that. And then half the time they halfway betray their promise, right?
Yeah, look, to be fair, I have my issues with some of Dana Bash's coverage lately, especially as it pertains to Gaza, but she's done some tough interviews.
Yeah, that's a good person to pick if you want, at least the appearance of a tough interview, maybe an actual tough interview. And by the way, the proof is in the pudding. We'll see the interview and we'll see if it's tough or not, right? But I don't think any of these mainstream media guys ever do a tough interview because look, if I was doing an interview, the first thing I'd ask is, why should we bother even listening to any of your proposals? Because the Democrats almost never deliver on their promises.
Look, I think the reason why Kamala Harris stalled on the interview is because she's kind of in an impossible position. So she is going to be asked to defend policies that have not been popular in the Biden administration or failures of the Biden administration, okay? She's gonna be asked about Gaza. That is a difficult issue to talk about as a politician trying to garner favor among the electorate. She's probably gonna be asked to comment on the chaotic US withdrawal from Afghanistan. That's been getting a lot of news lately because of the anniversary of that event. But it was, look, I was in favor of pulling out of Afghanistan. Obviously, the way that it went down and the number of Americans who were killed as a result was awful. So she's gonna be asked about that. She's probably gonna be asked about the failures with the border crisis. She's probably gonna be asked about inflation and what her plans are. And look, she has, in my opinion, struggled in the past in doing sit-down interviews. Like Tim Walz, number one, does not have that problem of having to defend the Biden administration. Kamala Harris is in the Biden administration, so that's gonna be a challenge. And Tim Walz is kind of comfortable and natural and conversational when he sits down to talk to reporters. Kamala Harris has not proven that she can do the same thing. And so I want to provide one example. This is the example that gets a lot of attention, but this is what I'm personally concerned about when it comes to Kamala Harris. She just kind of freezes up. And I know that she has like some issues with anxiety, and I feel like maybe that anxiety is really, really showing itself when she does these types of interviews. Let's take a look.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Has she really never been to Europe? I find that hard to believe. But anyway, obviously that wasn't a great way of handling the question. There's other examples as well. But one other thing that I'll mention, Cenk, is, I would be shocked if Dana Bash didn't ask Kamala Harris how much she knew about Joe Biden's mental decline prior to that debate. So that's gonna come up too. So look, she's on cloud nine right now. They've been campaigning well. She's increasing her lead in the national polls. She didn't want to do an interview that could actually, potentially sacrifice some of the good vibes that voters are feeling toward her.
Yeah, no, this is a big problem. Okay, so I'm gonna give one more comment in favor of her. One of our members, Corden Biggie, has a different theory. I don't think that's why she's doing the joint interview, Cenk. She's doing a joint interview because Tim Walz makes her look good. Perfectly plausible theory, no problem. Love doing the show with you guys. Hit the join button below to be part of the show and be a member. Okay, now having said that, look guys, overall issue, we baby our politicians. We baby them so much.
Yeah, we deserve better.
So like, all the things that Anna's talking about, yeah, those are tough for a politician because we baby them. And their main talent is sucking up donor money, right? So Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. So if we were old school and your main talent needed to be convincing people to vote for you instead of convincing people to donate to you, right? We'd have killers there, and none of this would be a problem, right? So if you ask me any of those questions, I just bat them away. It's no big deal at all. Okay, hey, Lester, going to a border and looking at a line in the sand doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is me being here in Honduras and trying to fix the core of the problem, right? I can do that on any given issue. It's super easy, and we're worried that our presidential candidate can't do this super easy. So I'm worried because there's two things that could be potential problems. I said this as soon as they got momentum, and I'm like, look, it's tied. Now she's got a little bit of a lead. But the two giant problems are war, if it happens in the Middle East, and word salads. So that was a problem for her for about 3.5 years to 4 years, the word salads. If they reappear, oh boy, okay, then it's a different dynamic and we're in a world of trouble, right? And why am I worried about it now? Because they made such a big deal out of it. And it seems like they're nervous about it. They were asking, Politico's reporting that they're asking other reporters, who should we do it with? It's just, no, look guys, here's the correct approach. Do hundreds of interviews. You say, oh my God, you might make a mistake or two. That's right. But meanwhile, you're scoring and scoring and scoring because you're constantly on the offense and you're putting them on the defense. And then Trump, he's gonna run in the wrong direction, score against himself. Go on the offense and stay there. Every interview is millions of dollars in free media. Like these giant ones are tens of millions of dollars in free media. What are you raising all that money for? You're raising it to have ads. The ads are not as nearly as effective as actually the content when you're in the show, right? So, and all these guys in the press, they all do it for like, she should do an interview with me. She should do the interview with me, right? I don't think she should do an interview with us. I don't think she can survive an interview with us. I'm being honest, okay? So this has nothing to do with personal interest, other than win the goddamn election. If you want to win the election, do dozens of interviews, you and Tim Walz. Have him do like hundreds of interviews. So you get hundreds of millions of dollars in free media to make your case. If you can't make your case, you're not the right person. And I'm a little worried. Let's see how it goes. I'm not massively worried. She hasn't done anything wrong yet. The interview hasn't happened. It's on Thursday night. Let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.